In this video I'm going to be seeing if you really do need photos so sharp you can cut yourself with them. Roll titles. Well, hi YouTube, Brian Jims at Micro Four Thirds guy, still on this sunny day, still with a cup of coffee. I've made 3 videos this afternoon in quick succession, to be shown on slightly different days, but I'm still on the same cup of coffee. Same cup of coffee on 3 different days, it's not bad, is it? Well, I'm talking about a cup of coffee. If you'd like to help support the channel by buying me a coffee, there's a PayPal link in the comments below, and beside that is a link to my Patreon channel if you'd like to become a patron of the channel. And all these wonderful people already are patrons. Thank you very much for your support, because without your support the channel doesn't work. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because without that I'm not going to reach 10,000 subscribers, and I'm only 1,000 off, which isn't going too bad. It costs you absolutely nothing, and over half my viewers of the channel aren't subscribers. Dead simple, just hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a penny and it really does help the channel. Anyway, back to the subject for today, sharpness. I was talking before about getting this new lens, wonderful little 12 to 32. One of the things about it is it is super sharp. It really is a wonderful little lens for the price and for the quality of build. It's a very, very sharp lens. But are we going too far with sharpness? Is sharpness such an important thing that it becomes the be-all and end-all of whatever we do? Now, I used to do a lot of portrait photography. That's how I made a lot of my money as a photographer. And one of the problems I had was with modern lenses being too sharp. Now, we can actually put a little bit of softening onto things, but it always looks a touch unnatural. And I remember when I first got into photography, one of the first lenses I used was my 50mm Zuiko lens, which came as standard kit lens, the f1.8 with my Olympus OM1. And I remember taking portraits on that. And it was a good lens, but it wasn't super sharp. Still isn't super sharp. I still have the lens, still have the camera. But still not the super sharp lens, but it was very, very good. But what I did notice on those, there's a quality, a certain quality, a certain air about those photographs which just comes across, especially when you're photographing women, it just comes across particularly natural. Yes, you can see all the lines on the face and things, and I know a lot of women don't like to see lines, but without those lines you don't have any character. But it's how distinct those lines are. Now, a lot of what you can get rid of, or a lot what you can emphasize, depending on what you want to do, comes from how you light it. But the lenses were that little bit softer. They weren't out of focus. That's a different thing, being out of focus. They just had that little bit of softness around the edges. They weren't so quite razor sharp when you had a vertical or horizontal edge around the edge of the face. And on modern lenses, they are so super sharp, it almost looks as if they've got a slight black halo around them sometimes, which I didn't used to find in the early days. Now, I was watching a video by a guy called The Lone Shooter. If you haven't checked his channel out, check it out, The Lone Shooter. Really, really good guy, a fantastic personality. Former professional photographer, used to do equine photography, horses, for those who don't know. Yeah, equine, horses. Used to do equine photography, and the results he got were absolutely fantastic. But he started using a couple of old 1960s, 70s, whatever, they were Helios lenses. With his cameras, fully manual lenses, and there's just a beautiful, beautiful feel to them. It's not really, it can't be described as an image, because it's not. The whole image, the whole photograph has a particular feel about it, which is it's super in focus, but it has a real softening. And one of the worries I have about these modern lenses, which are all designed on computer-aided design packages, CAD-CAM packages, and they're all CNC made to the nth degree of accuracy and wonderful. I mean, they really are masterpieces, the lenses that we have these days. They really are some unbelievable masterpieces. But there seems to be a clinical edge to them. And there's a few of the comments that I've had made over the years I've been on this channel, which has said about lenses and cameras being very clinical now. And I do believe that that's the case. I was looking through some of the older photographs that you see online. They were obviously the sort of Ansel Adams and people like that, and, you know, which are always quoted as being been particularly earth-shifting photographs, almost. You know, the real turning points in photography were some of these people. And I was looking at them. They had all their equipment. What they did have was they had a style to their photographs, and they did have certain techniques which I think people have lost these days. So I've been looking at some of those older photographs, but also been looking at some of the classic Hollywood photographs from the 40s, the 30s, 40s and 50s, when you're getting the, you know, the Greta Garbos of the world, and it's, you know, all these fantastic screen goddesses and screen gods for the men. Very few of them are razor sharp. The vast majority have a real softness to them, but they look absolutely stunning shots. The lighting is really, really good, but there's something about the cameras and the lenses that they were using then, and the way that they were processed and printed, which really makes them stand out as being something special. But they're nowhere near sharp. Anything but sharp. They're well focused, but not sharp. And they're certainly not clinical. They have a real feel to them and a real softness. The skin looks soft without taking all those wrinkles and marks away. Those lines are there, and they're what give the character. They're still there. And I tried to achieve that a lot in post-production when I used to do the portraits that I was doing for the business, especially on women, especially on female form. Quite often when you get a male face, something like mine, you can get the sort of crow's feet, and it gives a cragginess, and it gives a bit of extra manly character. Are you allowed to say that these days? I don't care if you're allowed to say that these days. I say that. A bit of a manly character to it. Whereas the women, I did tend to want to try and make it softened up a little bit. Yes, if you get a woman in the 40s or 50s, you're still going to get some of those crow's feet. You're still going to get the little lines. You're still going to get some of the little marks and things on the skin. But I wanted to get just that little bit of softness, and I used softening in softening of the focus in Lightroom and in Photoshop, and I could get some incredibly good results, ones which my clients were really happy with. But to me, they always lacked. They lacked that certain something which cameras of yesteryear used to have. And I'm wondering if you find this. We can get some incredible detail on some of the photographs, especially if you're getting wildlife. You know, some of the birding shots and things that I've seen are just out of this world. But when it comes to taking people, what do you use? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really interested to know, if you're a portrait photographer, what you think about the super sharp lenses that we have, and if that's an advantage or a disadvantage to you. It's something which I'm very, very interested in, because you can spend a fortune on super sharp lenses, but they don't necessarily give good results. Leave a comment below. Really interested in that. The other thing is, whatever you're doing, keep on taking the camera out with your lenses on. Whatever the lens, modern, vintage, automatic, manual, keep on taking them out. Keep on developing your style of photography, and keep on having fun with your photos. See you next time. Bye-bye.